Welcome to the Linked Parishes podcast. I'm Donald McCorkindale, Church of Scotland minister in the parishes of Ardgour, Morvern and Strontian, linked with Acharacal and Ardnamurchan, bringing you news from these parishes and beyond. The last couple of weeks have been incredibly busy between parish things, personal things and presbytery things, all the P's. And I'm really sorry that it's been a long time since there has been an update to the Linked Parishes podcast. But we're back on track and there will be weekly updates. Not next week. Next week I am on holiday. Last Sunday I was talking about the importance of rest, renewal, relaxation. And it was one of those themes that was as much for me as anyone else. So next week, a week off before the busyness of Holy Week. I always think of Holy Week being a quiet, contemplative time, but it can bring its busyness. And I'll tell you a wee bit more later on about things that will be happening during Holy Week. Last Monday, we had another of our conversations that matter, continuing that theme of dying, grief and bereavement, and a small group met at Strontian Church on Monday night and appreciated that safe space to talk about difficult, sensitive things. And we'll be doing some more of those in the coming weeks and months. Tomorrow evening at Treeslake Village Hall, another of our gatherings there to share in coffee, cake and conversation and some very informal worship. And so all are welcome there. We will be thinking about Holy Week and Easter and some of the themes and questions that brings. It's also been a week focusing on buildings, and Ken Gill, property convener, and I were down at Keele Church yesterday, Tuesday. I'm recording this on Wednesday, the 2nd of April. So we had a good look round Keele Church and filled out the annual checklist to ensure that we are looking after our buildings. And, well, the rain and the wind of the last few weeks has certainly caused a wee bit of an ingress of water. We will be attending to all those things. And then we were up at Strontian Church, where we hope that very soon the transfer of ownership to the Soonart Community Company will be effected. The solicitors are still dotting a few I's and crossing T's. Hopefully that won't be too far off. So there, as with the other buildings, there are always little jobs to be done, cleaning gutters, vacuuming carpets, polishing wood, whatever it is, and any offers of assistance will be greatly appreciated. Also this week, there have been a number of visits by myself to the primary schools as they reach the end of another term and looking forward to the Easter holidays. So last week I had been in Kilhoan Primary and earlier this week in Acharacal and at not Acharacal, that's tomorrow, Ardgour and Strontian, and tomorrow I will be in Acharacal and Lochalan primary schools. Do remember the young folk in our communities in your prayers, and for some of them, of course, coming back after the Easter holidays straight into National 5 and higher exams into this summer term. The Guild meets on the Monday of Holy Week, the 14th of April, for their AGM, the annual general meeting. And that will take place at Brenda's house in Strontian. And if you're not sure where that is, or you want to speak to anyone about the Guild, then do speak to any of the Guild members or to Elizabeth Carmichael, the Guild coordinator. Now, I said we would come back to Holy Week and the things that will be happening. During Holy Week, there will be a number of Wonder Walks. Wonder Walks is a wee booklet, a resource that has been put together by the Scottish Bible Society, inviting us into the stories of the last week of Jesus' life and his death and resurrection. And so around the peninsula, there'll be a number of gatherings to meet together, to go for a wee walk and to pause and reflect on some of the Bible stories through John's Gospel. And there'll be things to do, things to think about, things to ponder, things to pray about. Details of the where and when these wonder walks will be happening will be on the website peninsulachurches.org.uk. I've still to finalise some of that. By the weekend, we'll have that detail ready. There will be some worship services, particularly for Maundy Thursday and Good Friday. And again, details of those will be on the service sheet, the newsletter. Hope you're enjoying the New Look newsletter service sheet each week with not only the order of service, but some information and articles, some news from around the Peninsula Churches. Each day in Holy Week, there will also be a video reflection, a drawing on some local material, and also some material that's been put together by Ruth Kennedy. Reverend Ruth Kennedy is the church's advisor in digital ministry, and she and her team have put together some resources which can be shared in different ways digitally. One of the stories that we come to as we journey with Jesus south down to Jerusalem is the story of blind Bartimaeus. And I sometimes like to think that as Jesus made that journey south to Jerusalem for the final time, it would have in many ways been the same physical journey that Mary and Joseph made going down to nearby Bethlehem at the very, just before and the very beginning of Jesus' life. And so both those journeys would have taken them through Jericho, and Jesus would meet with the blind man Bartimaeus, who we're told was son of Timaeus. And I like to think that maybe Mary and Joseph had met Timaeus on that much earlier journey. And maybe he had a very young son with him, a blind son, Bartimaeus. Anyway, let's turn to Mark's Gospel, to Mark chapter 10, and we read from verse 46. They came to Jericho, and as Jesus was leaving with his disciples and a large crowd, a blind beggar named Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus, was sitting by the road. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, take pity on me." Many of the people scolded him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted even more loudly, "Son of David, take pity on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called the blind man. "Cheer up," they said. "Get up, he's calling you." He threw off his cloak, jumped up, and came to Jesus. "What do you want me to do for you?" Jesus asked him. "Teacher," the blind man answered, "I want to see again." "Go," Jesus told him, "your faith has made you well." At once he was able to see and followed Jesus on the road. Amen. May God bless these words to you this day. "What do you want me to do for you?" Jesus asked him. And Jesus asks that same question to each one of us. The risen Jesus wants to enter into conversation, dialogue with us. So in your imagination, have that conversation with Jesus, who says, "What do you want me to do for you?" And as Bartimaeus followed Jesus on the road, so too we can follow Jesus in our journey of discipleship, following him. Thank you for listening to the Link Parishes podcast. For more news of what's on for worship times, check out peninsulachurches.org.uk, or you can find us on Facebook. And if you haven't already done so, you can subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcasts and Spotify. The Link Parishes are Church of Scotland congregations and charities registered with Oscar.